Hi there, my name is John Milanoski, founder and creator of thecustomeradvantage.com. You came to this site because it's an invitation-only membership site, and somebody thought highly of you, and they got excited about this, and they wanted to share it with you too. I'm going to paint a picture for you here, and I really want to get the right mindset ahead of really presenting to you what this is all about, because you may have came here for a specific reason, and those reasons are definitely going to be met. But it's really about a bigger thing for all of us. This is a huge thing that you can participate in, and there's no obligation. It's all free. It's completely beneficial for everyone involved. But before I get started and tell you all the details about this, I just want to paint the picture. Have you ever looked around and kind of been curious about what creates success? I have from a very early age. And just to give you an idea, I've been self-employed for the last 25 years, ever since I got out of high school in 1985. And, it's always intrigued me about success. When I was the age 13, I read an incredible book about Andrew Carnegie. And that's really what turned the light on for me. And I think at that time I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. But because of the things I discovered, it allowed me to participate in some absolutely amazing things. And it's because of specific distinctions that I made at an early age that allowed me to see some incredible opportunities as they were unfolding. So before I get into that, I just want to point this out. When you're growing up, people tell you all these things about what creates success. You probably got told, get a good education. Smart people, you got to be real smart. And if you do the right things and you learn the right things, get a good education and go to work, you'll do really well. And then you go out and you look around and you see these people that are really, really smart. You look at what they've been doing for 15 years and they still haven't really gone to that next level. There's a lot of really, really smart people. Matter of fact, the majority that are not doing that great. Now, on the other hand, you might have been told, work hard, work really hard. If you work real hard, you're going to do real well. It's all about working hard. And, I know so many people that work extremely hard. And I've seen people of all walks of life that just, they work hard for 10 years and 10 years goes by and they look back and they're not much better off than 10 years earlier. And it isn't really so much about being smart or working hard, because you know what? You've also run into those people that they're not real smart. They don't work really hard. But on the other hand, they have an incredible lifestyle. They got all the time they need to spend with family. They've got all the time they want to spend doing all the things they want, like with the toys they have, and they have a great house and a great family, and they're able to make contributions out there. They're able to give back. They're able to participate in different functions. They're able to travel, all those things that just make a wonderful life. And you see them and it looks like they just don't even work very hard. And they're not really that smart. I mean, yeah, they're bright, but not that smart. And it amazes me how easy some people have it. And that always intrigued me. So what I started to study was really what was going on there. And what really turned the light on for me was, I'm going to take you back again and just talk to you about what I read from that book on Andrew Carnegie. Because as I display and illustrate this to you, you're going to see some things lay out here. This is going to be an absolute map. It almost is like a crystal ball, if you really think about it, to see what's going to happen. And that's the key. So if you look back at where Andrew Carnegie was, when he came to this country, he was, a young kid, didn't have any money. He worked as a bobbin boy in a print factory. Of course, he wasn't going to get rich being a bobbin boy. It was a terrible job. He came home, he stunk, he was dirty, all that type of stuff. But the bottom line is he had some ambition. And eventually he worked his way up and landed a job as a messenger boy, which was a little better job. It wasn't the greatest job, but it was better. And that exposed him to certain people. And of course, I'm speculating a little bit because I wasn't alive at that time. But I'm sure that he had a certain charisma and passion and drive. And he met enough of the right people to where eventually he landed a job at the railroad. Now, this job at the railroad wasn't going to make him rich either. But you know what? He was bright enough to notice a trend that was happening. And that was the first distinction I made about success. You see, Andrew Carnegie, while working for the railroad, he saw a map of what the company had decided to do, what they were going to do with railroads. Remember, at that time in history, railroads were not built yet. So he literally saw this map that illustrated how these railroads were going to be built all across the country, and they didn't exist yet. So he put two and two together, and realizing that, he realized that the best solution for railroad tracks was steel. Of course, steel was already being made. Bessemer had already perfected the process of manufacturing steel. But Carnegie, he didn't even know how to make steel. He went down to the local library, just like you or I could, read a book about how to make steel, started making steel, and got in front of a trend that was going to happen regardless of him. This was something that was going to happen, and it was so big, it was much bigger than he was, and it was a point in history that this was going to happen, and he got in front of that trend. So he started manufacturing steel, made some contracts with these railroad companies, and the rest is history. It was so big, it carried him regardless of Andrew Carnegie. Of course, a couple other things happened, like there was a big building, a very large wood building that burned down in Chicago. Of course, he just made the distinction, hey, I can build buildings out of steel. So he started doing that, and eventually he was building bridges. You could have pulled Andrew Carnegie out of the steel factories that he had built and what he was doing, and it still would have gone on without him because it was bigger than he was. Now you jump forward, and things are happening at a much more rapid pace. And I'm telling you this to kind of paint and illustrate the picture so you see this. You see, so many times in your past, you've looked at all the things you missed out on. It's easy to say, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I would have invested money in Microsoft. I would have invested money in Starbucks. I would have invested money in Google. I would have invested money in Apple had I known. But the thing is, it's always easy to look back. The key is, as you're looking back, you're missing what's going on right now. And that's what I want to bring to the forefront. Start to notice what's happening right under your nose right now. Something that's so big. It's bigger than you, bigger than me. It's going to happen with or without you or me. All we have to do is get in front of it. So again, you come to the forward again, you look at Bill Gates. Same scenario. Bill Gates, he was passionate about software, loved computers, and so on. Matter of fact, he didn't even write the software that originally founded and started Microsoft. He didn't write DOS. But the bottom line is he was at a point in history where the computer revolution was going to take off with or without Bill Gates. He just happened to get in front of it. Again, there was two other gentlemen at the same time in history, Bill Joy and Steve Jobs. So you have these three gentlemen, Bill Gates, Bill Joy, and Steve Jobs, the founder of Microsoft, the founder of Sun Microsystems and Unix. Unix is the operating system that Apple's written on, and also was a lot of the routers and switches on the internet were built on that as well. And then you have Apple Computer, Steve Jobs. What you really need to notice is that all three of those gentlemen were born within 6 months of each other. Why do I tell you this? Because it illustrates even more that it wasn't about them. It was about a point in history, a time that was happening. And the computer revolution was going to take off with or without all three of these gentlemen. But the bottom line is they got in front of it and it carried them. And look at where they are today. It's bigger than all of them. You pull any one of those individuals out of the companies that they built or started, and those companies will still continue on today. Now you also jump forward again now, and things are happening at a much more rapid pace. Two college buddies sitting in their dorm room writing software. This is something they would have done for free. It was something they were passionate about. And the bottom line is they wrote a software package called Backrub. And that software package was something they would have given away for free probably. But eventually it was renamed to Google. And now today we know where those two gentlemen are with Google. Now here's the question. Do you even know the names of the founders of Google? I ask that because I can stand in front of a room of 5,000 people and ask, who knows the name of the owners of Google? And you know what? Maybe 3 hands will go up. And the bottom line is, I'm pointing out to you that it isn't about Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google. It's about where they were in history. It's about something that was going to happen regardless of them. They didn't even create the search engine revolution. It was going to happen with or without them. There was already search engines in existence. Google was not the first one. They just got in front of a trend that carried them, and it was going to happen regardless of them. So again, you can see, it's not about the founders of Google. It's about Google and where they were in history. Something that'll never happen again in our history, and they were in front of it. So now we jump forward, and you look what's happening with social media and marketing and business. Things are changing forever. And you know what? Businesses, if they don't adopt to the new model, they'll be gone very quickly. And we're seeing it happen faster and more rapidly today than ever before. The small business owner has been impacted in a way that's never been impacted in history. And it's changed the way that all small businesses will do business in the future. So the key is noticing this. Now look at what's happened. Look how quickly it's happening. For example, remember this little company that started up that had a free membership where you could join up and talk to your friends and communicate? And it started about 6 years ago. And today it has 500 million members. And the owner of that, the little 26-year-old owner and creator and founder, he's 26 today, 20 when he started it, is worth billions and billions of dollars. Why?